waiting for our friends to get on board. Yo, Dash, how are you, my friend? Tomorrow I'm going to be talking at on Grace's website. She's interviewing me tomorrow. Hey, Josie. All right, so let's wait 30 seconds. So tonight's topic is manifesting with your imagination. It's always, of course, it's always about the imagination. And I'll tell you why in most cases it does not work. 30 seconds, okay, you guys? All right, so let's get it going. It's going to be posted anyways. So what I want to talk to you guys about tonight is how we easily forget. We so easily forget that everything that happens to us externally in the so-called physical realm is the result of our thought process. The biggest problem, I believe, and I know for a fact, is that we don't truly believe this. Let's be honest, okay? In other words, we watch all kinds of law of attraction movies. You know, what you focus is what you get. Thoughts create reality, but we don't truly believe it. And the reason being is because there is an inbuilt delay in the process. See, if I thought of this and this appears in front of me immediately, I would believe it. Say, wait a minute, I just thought of that. But because, rightly so, hey Joanne, thank you for coming. Because rightly so, there is a inbuilt delay into the process. We forget that somebody calls us today out of the blue. We forget that we were thinking about them 2 days ago. We meet somebody totally randomly at the grocery store and we end up dating them. A month later, we end up having a relationship with them, and we totally forget that a month ago or 2 months ago, perhaps we saw ourselves in a relationship. Of course, this works both for positive as well as negative. But to show you, just to give you proof that the process does work, I'm going to make you a very quick example. I would like you to imagine, this is a very old tried and true test. I would like you to imagine having a half a lemon in your hand right now. And then just simply bring it to your mouth and bite into it. And feel the juiciness in your mouth and on your lips. And tell me if your body does not respond to it. By the same token, imagine holding a rose in your hand, a beautiful red rose, your favorite color, and then just bring it to your nose right now and take deep, just smell how beautiful the rose smells. And I guarantee you that right now you are smelling a rose, if only for a couple of seconds. So the question is, where does this come from? Well, two things. Number one, your thoughts do create reality. Number two, there is no much difference between the so-called physical and the next, what Seth, my spirit guide, calls framework number two. So he calls this framework number one. Framework, meaning place of experimentation. Framework number one and framework number two. So everything you ever desire, everything you ever gonna want is already in existence in framework number two. It's only waiting for the little pebble, the little push to make it come onto this side. So in the case of a house, for example, suppose you want a house. In most cases, the bridge is making blueprints, going shopping for, perhaps even going to open houses or talking about it. In the case of a relationship, the bridge, the last straw, so to speak, to make it materialize in this realm is perhaps you starting to envision yourself being married, perhaps starting to envision yourself have a family. Stop thinking of yourself as I am single. I am single. And do not say, I want a relationship. See yourself in a relationship. But that also works for everything else. It works for money, works for health, it works for happiness, it works for everything. Because you see, I want to show you something. Until we understand this process, how thoughts translate into the physical, we ain't getting anywhere. The truth of the matter is that you pulsate in and out of existence every split moment. And this pulsing in and out of the existence is when you switch places. Let me explain what I mean by that. So it turns out that this is not really real. This is all imagined. We can talk about that in another session. And because it is imagined, you need to think the moment before translates and causes and manifests the moment later and the moment later. So if these are moments, and this is you over here, this is you over here, and this is really bad, and this is really good, you basically, and by the way, there are what Seth calls off moments. There are actually off moments where you don't exist at all, but because they're so fast, you don't see them. We don't need to talk about them. But what determines where you're going is your thought, moment by moment, by moment, by moment, by moment, by moment. And so if you concentrate on the feeling of your wallet is empty and you worry about how you're going to pay the next month's rent, now you step down here. And then you keep on focusing, geez, am I going to have enough money for next month? Now you're down here. And then, of course, like attracts like, you're going to meet your friends and they're going to tell you the same thing. Just, I don't know if I have enough money next month. Say, yeah, me too, I'm worried about it. And then you go down here. You know what I'm talking about. And then you're down here, and then you're down here, and then you're down here, and now down here. And you see where you end up? You end up on making your fear a reality. Now, my question is this to you. Is a fear real? In other words, a fear is nothing more than a probability. So in other words, you have as much probability when you're here to end up here or here, same difference. By you choosing the low route, it's going to bring you over here. Now, suppose that you went down for a couple of days. These are moments, but days. But then you somehow saw something positive on TV, and it made you laugh, and it made you think, you know what? I got nothing to worry about. It's going to be okay. I am sure I'm going to have enough money to pay the rent, to pay the electricity, to be safe, whatever. I am sure. And so down here, now you switch up here. And then you meet somebody else, a friend of yours, that says, you know, I don't know. I'm just making examples here. You know, I just got a little inheritance, okay? So they're happy, they make you happy, you know, happiness rubs onto each other. So now you went up here. And you went up here and you went up, and somehow the money shows up. Somehow the money shows up. What I would like you to pay attention to is this. These are only probabilities. So my question is, why would you worry about something that is not there yet? And you're only worrying about the probability of something going sour when you actually have a 50-50 chances. Why not instead picking the positive side? And chances are, not chances are, I know for a fact, that the universe always says yes. So if you say, I think I'm not going to have enough money for rent, the universe says, you're right. Geez, I'm really worried. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You know what? Everything is going to be fine. You are right. I don't worry about money. Money just comes to me. I don't care how. I do not care how. Money just comes to me. I am good at producing money. And God says, yes, you're right. And then He say, you know what? Money is not even an issue. And I'll tell you a little trick. Not only that God always says yes, but always have money in your wallet. Always have at least $1,000. And be used to, I say, Marco, I don't have $1,000. Well, whatever you have, just put a few $100s in your wallet. Get used to the fact of having money in your hands. Even enjoy it. It has nothing to do with being greedy. It has to do with you removing the blocks that you have, if you have any, against money or with money. Because there are a lot of blocks that perhaps you have from childhood, from previous generations that you might not even be aware of. Do you know how many people fall in this trap? You know how many people tell me, Marco, is it possible to have money if I don't like rich people? Oh my God. Do you realize what you just did to yourself? How could you possibly have money if you dislike rich people? Yeah, but rich people are evil. Marco, isn't it true that rich people take advantage of the workers, their employees? All the politicians are rich. But that is like saying, is it possible to be healthy if I hate healthy people? Think about it. How are you going to be healthy if you hate the idea of being healthy? How are you going to have any money if you hate rich people? That means I want nothing to do with them. Well, guess what? God says yes. You're right. You're not going to have nothing to do with them. So please, watch your words and watch your thoughts. Because we are not kidding you when we say that thoughts create your reality. You guys, there is no other mechanism. How do you think your life develops moment by moment? What do you suggest? What do you think is making your life click, click, click every second? Click, click, click. What do you think is causing your seconds to keep on going for you? You know what it is? Nothing else but what you think each previous moment. So you're thinking, right now you're thinking you're going to be doing a moment from now, tonight, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 5 years, 10 years. So as you envision these probabilities, they start transpiring from framework number 2 into framework number 1. They slowly transpire. And you can change your mind at any time. And so you were thinking everything was going to go good for you. And so framework number 2 provides you with the tools and the whatever you need to make it so. Because God always says yes. And then halfway, for whatever reason, perhaps you heard something on TV. Perhaps somebody told you something negative. You change course. Framework number 2 has no choice. It has to always prove you right, because whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not, you are a creator. So as you express these thoughts outwardly, the universe, God, this is why I call my book, God Always Says Yes. There is no such a thing as God say, no, you cannot have it. No, there isn't. It's always you imagining your next moment, the next year, and next 10 years, and God always responds in kind. So please, please, watch your thoughts. If you don't like your condition, whatever it is, health, financial, whatever it is, relationship, happiness, whatever, watch your thoughts, because that is what's causing your situation. So what else can I say? Remember the lemon example, okay? Just as you're able to feel the feeling of biting into a lemon, so does everything else work the same. Everything else is the same. Because you haven't got a lemon in your hand. So the fact that you can actually taste the lemon in your mouth must tell you something, must tell you that not only what is visible is real. Things, well, as a matter of fact, if you want to know the truth, 95+% of the entire universe is not visible. Do you realize that the only visible plane is this one? There are an infinite number of frequencies, and the only visible, tangible one is this one. So you are only concentrating on a small percentage, the entire universe, God if you like, where in reality, the majority of the universe that we don't see is what's really causing everything that we get into this level here. You think of it and it just transpires over here. Okay, you guys, please don't forget that. All right. I love you all. Have a wonderful evening. If you need to have a one-to-one conversation for personal reasons, PM me and we'll make it happen. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.